Hello, hello. I hope everything is going well. It sure is going well for me, thank you for asking. Because I would like to personally greet you to episode 7 of Draft Dash. We actually made it to a point where it is a week. We're not even in the double digits yet. And you know what? You know what? I've had enough. The celebrations, they're wonderful and all, but you know what else they are? They're an excuse. They're an excuse for me to push on radical changes in this new season we have here of Chit Chat. Where now I am not the same Andrew from 2 minutes ago. I have decided that from this point onward, we are not having 5-minute intros, but 4-minute intros. I don't actually know the timestamp, but either way, let's just plop you straight into the action. Alright? Okay. You're me, you're in preschool. You're waiting to get in preschool, because back then, my parents really did want me to go to preschool. I don't actually know if preschool is like a mandatory thing. I don't believe so, though it is encouraged, of course. And my parents were looking all over the state for a cheap and efficient preschool to lend me in. I know you know the title of this video, and you're probably wondering, how did it get... I'll tell you. So, we're looking for a preschool, and there aren't too many around where I was, like, near my old home, and we settled on a few options, but inevitably we just went with the cheaper one because we are not the highest earning family by any means. So, at the end of the day, after countless discussion in Filipino that I did not understand at the time at all, not a word, we decided that we would go to the one closest to me. And it was at that point where I packed my bags and went directly to a Jewish preschool. It was a quaint little area, right? It wasn't too big of a preschool. It was definitely similar to the congregations that are near, like, my house, like, now, right? They have, I don't know, I have never been inside a congregation. I am, of course, let me be clear, I am not Jewish, but from the church glass that I've seen and people lining up for school out there, I don't know if it's like the congregation is the school or what, but from what I've seen in the preschool, right, it is very religion oriented, obviously, and I'm pretty sure that preschool is really just supposed to be a gateway. Okay, gateway is a bad word. Like, an entry point for the later Jewish schools. So, fair enough. But at the time, we were just like, okay, it's just a fucking preschool that we can pay less for. And so we had the awesome idea of pretending to be Jewish. And let's be honest here, I'm Filipino. You were doomed from the start. I have never heard of a Jewish Filipino in my entire life. And if you do, honestly, I am beyond impressed. So, nice, I guess. But in any case, oh my god. Oh wow, horrible. In any case, I did show up for a while, and the teachers, they didn't like me too much. I don't remember why. I remember I had to get picked up early. Maybe they were on to me. Maybe they were on to my ruse. They knew all along that I wasn't Jewish and I was simply blending in as a Jewish person. But I had to get picked up early by my mom. Everyone would have nap time. I did not have such luxury. I had to sit around in a chair, just waiting, just simply waiting for my mom to arrive. And I didn't have a table in the meantime. I just sat on this chair with no table, with this one woman just staring at me. And she talked and, oh my god, she talked and looked like she hated my guts. For real. Like, honestly. But the other teacher, Miss Braha, which if you laughed at that name, my respect for you has lessened just a little bit. It's okay. The other teacher liked me a little more because I was doing well in that class. However, the other one, I forgot her name. She just hated my guts. No question. Sometimes in the preschool we would have recess as well. As usual, we'd have our letter learning and then our book reading, and after that everyone can go outside and explore the great outdoors of New York City. And I loved recess. I would always get a little too carried away. I had some friends there that I don't really talk to anymore, of course, that I often played with for a long time in that preschool. And they were fun to hang out. There wasn't that much. It was a very bleak playground. We'd have to walk like a few blocks out of the preschool in order to arrive there. But it was cool for what it was, and especially for a bunch of preschoolers. So one day we went there in like first month or two of the year, and we were just waiting for instruction for them to open it so that we can end up playing in the monkey bars or whatever we did. But I was a little too impatient, and we were just simply waiting for the other people to do their shit. But they were just simply taking too long. So I got carried away. I was looking at the sides as a preschooler, and I saw this butterfly that I'm pretty sure nowadays is a moth. Oh my god, sorry. That I'm pretty sure nowadays is a moth, but I can't be sure. But no matter what it was, it had wings, it was pretty-ish, and I just had this like fascination toward it in one way or another. And I followed it to the side where there's this like a really short black fence, right? And I was just staring at it. I wanted to grab it, I wanted to reach, oh my god, I wanted to reach for it at some point, but I couldn't. But eventually it went near that fence, and with it being as short as it was, I went right to the fence that had these like sharp top pointy things, and I just like, the butterfly flew past it, and then I just rammed my head right into the top part of the fence, like without hesitation. And I started bleeding from my forehead immediately. Like immediately. There was no just, you know, me, oh, like, ow, fuck, that, or sorry, ow, hell, that hurt. It was just like, the pain was simply immediate, and blood would start not really gushing out, but definitely leaking to the point where I was on the floor, and we all had to go back to the fucking preschool where they had to put stitches on me, or not stitches, they went to like the sink and started like washing my head vigorously in the sink. It was horrible. I remember seeing my own blood mixed with the water in the sink. Ew, like it was no joke. It was simply no joke. And my mom eventually found out about this. I had to go straight home. Oh my god. I had to go straight home, and we had to go to the hospital, or I think it was more my pediatrician, which I don't know why. Don't worry, I do get hospitalized in this video, but this is kind of like an unsure point. Either way, I got sent to like serious medical care, and they had to apply stitches on me. They had to review everything that was going on. It fucking hurts like hell, but I was kind of distracted because, you know, I remember my classmates had sent something like mean early that day, and I was more angry about the mean comment than me fucking near bleeding from my forehead. And honestly, I bet my classmates were fucking pissed too. They're like, what the fuck? We can't do recess anymore. What the frick, man? I can just imagine them there. But yeah, I had to get like something injected, as I think stitches usually are. I'm pretty sure it was stitches. I don't remember most of it, but I do remember that an injection was really painful. So inevitably that story ended with a scar that lasted for the entirety of my elementary school, and that's why I developed bangs. So yeah, I was definitely called Harry Potter for a little while, I promise. Okay, so yeah, that's my little Jewish preschool hospitalization. I do want to get more into the life of it, but I'll say that for another episode. Now, the other one. As you can see in the game, I am playing the Huntress, right? And she has this little wolf and a little dog. That's exactly where the story is beginning. You see, I have, or had, I mean, I still know how to do the tricks. I had a fascination for balisong, like butterfly knives and all that. You've probably seen them before. And I would learn tricks. I would start from the basics, of course, and I would work my way up into something that, ooh, how did I dodge that? Into something that was, aesthetically pleasing, or just looked really spinny and really nice, or just really difficult to maneuver. Either way, I was dwelling on that for a number of months, very close to the point where I almost bought like a $100 balisong, which to people who have never done butterfly knives, that's like, well, that's a lot. But to people that have flipped, that's like, oh, that's pretty cheap. Not a joke. But nonetheless, I had this fascination, and I would, I would get pretty good at it to the point where I can do it in public. Obviously, with a trainer, I'm not actually having a real ass knife, but it was still $100. I mean, the one I had was 40, but. I was in public. I was walking with a few friends of mine I'm pretty sure it was just to a restaurant. It was after school. And we stopped by a block, which was near a fire hydrant. And there are a lot of people that come by. It is New York City after all. You're not escaping people no matter what. And we found this this woman with her dog. She's just walking her dog casually. It kind of a small dog, not gonna lie. It wasn't too big, but it wasn't too small either, in my opinion. Because I clearly could tell from the time we passed them that while I was flipping my balisong and kind of looking cool at my tricks, this dog decided, oh my fucking god, he's trying to murder, to slaughter my owner, and jumped right to my leg in vengeance and bit the shit out of it. And I actually screamed in pain. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, it was bad. I don't know why. The dog wasn't even that fucking big. And yet, I treated it as if a German shepherd just, decided to take a shit on my front door. Like, it was just simply, well, obviously more than shitting in the front door. It's like, if he shit on my front door and then proceeded to bite my leg, there was no, oh my god, I had to rush over to the fire hydrant and be so fucking pissed off. I was more pissed off than actually just in pain. I'm kidding. No, I was definitely more in pain than pissed off, but it hurt so bad. Oh my god, we were making a scene as well. There were people that were crowding up and stuff, unfortunately, but eventually it was bleeding, so we had to not only rush to my friend's house, but they had to rush me to a hospital. And therefore, this isn't clickbait. Yes, I ended up going there. However, oh my god, this story gets me so angry because by the time I was at the hospital, I had to walk there. That was so fucking, oh my god. But it hurt, yes. I was limping, yes. But by the time I got to the hospital, it wasn't really hurting that much anymore. It was bearable. I won't lie. So, at that point, we were waiting there. We were waiting for an appointment. I was just kind of joking around with my friends at this point, because it was just a whole waiting game. It didn't even hurt anymore. And I eventually got there. They're like, oh, we need to check for rabies because that is the main thing. And by the next few minutes at that point, I was just researching, how rabies works and all that, like I was a little scared, I'm not gonna lie to you, because they're all like, because the way rabies works is it's not like a gradual thing, like there's no signs, it's just like you might have it with a small chance, and if you do have it, you're just gonna die. The only time you know when you have rabies is when it's too late. And unfortunately, that's just that. Like there's just no competition there. But they wanted to check for rabies, and they did like a small heartbeat test, or oh my god, a small heartbeat test or whatnot. And that calmed me down a little bit. It wasn't designed to calm me down, but it did. And they forwarded me to a place with like the nurses and stuff, and my friend's dad, I'm still not gonna name him just in case, but like my friend's dad was honestly the goat, as well as the friend, because he came too, and I felt really bad because he had to wait for hours. My parents were working at the time, and them like taking care of me, like I appreciate that so fucking much. It really made me feel loved at that moment. But we were waiting for a long time. We had some small talk with the dad and the nurse. And the nurse was just like, hey, how's it going? We just need this information. We need all your information, name, your parents, your phone number, the school you go to, what's your fucking astrology sign, all of that. And so we gave that, and we had a conversation while doing so. But eventually the treatment, after what was essentially an hour, was them going up to me and putting saline solution on the little wound, of course, and like patching up with gauze and just like having it stick on there. I was like, okay, we should probably check for rabies, probably, because like we haven't done that yet, and I don't think dog rabies shots are mandated in New York. But they're like, oh no, it's fine. Yeah, the chance is very small, and I was paranoid. So of course in my mind I was like, yeah, but like it's there. Like if I did have rabies, I'll just say this now. If I did have rabies, I actually would not be alive. Like I would actually be fucking dead. Like if that dog gave me rabies, I would not be alive, because I fucking, oh my god. It happened, yes. They put the saline solution on me and the gauge, and then in a few hours after collecting more personal information, they just dismissed me. They were just like, oh yeah, you can go, by the way. We're pretty much done. And then they pulled me aside and then told me, oh, you should take these antibiotics. They'll be good for you. And we got a bill of $500. I am not even kidding. They did not even check for rabies, and then this woman had the audacity to pull me aside and be like, hey man, so your parents aren't here, right? Yeah, so like, we're gonna charge you $500, and not only that, but we're gonna charge you $550 because technically you gotta take your antibiotics, so there's more money there. So unfortunately there was no wiggling out of that. I'm not a fucking financial instructor, and my parents were actually like angry at me because I didn't see the owner's personal information. Like I didn't see their what they look like or like what their name was. I just parted them and be like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Whatever. And that my friend's dad, he was so nice and offered to actually like pay for it, which was really sweet. I mean, obviously not all of it, but like half of it. Why didn't I get the hearts there? Yeah, like he offered to pay half of it, and I mean eventually like he couldn't or didn't. Either way, we had to end up paying that bill. But it was so annoying. Those antibiotics suck. I hate taking pills, but that should sum up my little hospital experiences. Fortunately, I haven't been to anything more serious. I have almost drowned a number of times, but those are stories I won't get into as of yet. But otherwise, that will be all for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in, and let's celebrate another 7 days of, I don't know, pretty much anything at this point. So therefore, I wish you all